are entering the Logan Zone on WRAL and 99.9 The Fan. Here are your hosts, former East Carolina and NFL coach Steve Logan and Adam Gold.
Good morning. Welcome to the Logan Zone and our 3-month sprint through the college football season. Along with the coach, Steve Logan, I'm Adam Gold, and I look forward to picking up where my friend Jeff Gravely left off a year ago. We will hit the Panthers before we're done, but first we've got 4 college football teams, varying levels of expectations, and the results ran the gamut. You ready to go?
Let's go, man.
Man, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Penalties, turnovers, special teams mistakes really did NC State in.
Did I not sit right here
You did.
on Friday, and I gave you the emotional game plan? I said, look, I don't want any surprises in the kicking game. Number one, we just need to tie the kicking game. You don't need to win it, just tie it.
Right.
Number one. Number two, don't turn the football over, and we will go beat South Carolina. And that's all we have to do. In fact, I didn't even get my potato chip sack open, and it's a 100-yard kickoff return to open the season. That's upsetting. That's extremely upsetting. All right, that's number one. Then you go for 2 turnovers, 14 more points. So there's 21 points come off of exactly what we were talking to our football team about. All right, 21 points. I looked ahead on South Carolina's schedule. That's a 6 to 7 win South Carolina football team that we saw yesterday. Not a great football team. We went out and beat them every way you could beat them and lost the football game, and it's just upsetting. There's no other way to put it. It's upsetting. Now, the good news is the needle is pointing up for North Carolina State. That's a good football team.
True. They've
got a good football team. But at some point, you've got to man up and win the games you're supposed to win against a quality opponent, okay? That was not a great opponent, a good opponent. Should have won the football game. And, you know, it's one of those things that will reverberate through their season. They'll look back. If they won 8, look, we could have won 9. If they win 9, look, we could have won 10. It's just going to nag on you as the season goes along.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of good signs. We're going to talk a little bit later about the play of the quarterback, Ryan Finley.
Right.
But even after the kickoff return, NC State's offense went down the field. And they tore up South Carolina's defense, and they did it back-to-back times.
Yep.
And the touchdown right before the end of the half that made it 21 apiece.
Right.
I mean, that should have been a momentum changer for them, and it just didn't turn out because the same little mistakes keep propping up.
Well, again, the other thing that's irritating, another missed field goal from 29 yards. And it's
worst field goal kicking team in the conference by a lot over the last few years.
And, you know, these are the kinds of things that it's over and over and over. But I will say this. You can learn how to cover a kickoff. That's correctable. You can take care of the football. That's correctable. So we can get these things corrected and go on and have a really good football team and a good football season. But, again, it was just another opportunity slips away. And, you know, again, it's one of the reasons I'm not coaching anymore because I'm just telling you, that upset me yesterday. And I know that it upset the North Carolina State coaches, put so much time and effort. And this game, there was a build-up to this football game beginning from last year. Everybody was pointing to this. And it was just an opportunity lost. We got Marshall next week. Let's go get the train put back on the track, get things organized again. Look, there's a lot of football left to be played. They can have a really, really good football season, but this one kind of hurt. This one hurt.
Yeah, because, I mean, forget about the crazy expectations from some people that they were a college football playoff contender.
That's insane.
Whether it's insane or not, it doesn't even matter, right? They have a chance. I mean, schedule's hard, but they're good. They have a lot of good players, and I felt like maybe they pressed maybe a little bit too much. They had an opportunity to get the quarterback on the ground in the first half, and Jake Bentley's a good quarterback, but he was able to extend drives that should not have been extended. It was the 3rd and long where he picked up 17 or so yards and picked up the first down. And, I mean, they made State's defense look bad for about 2.5 quarters.
They did, but again, I'm going to look at the flip around and be the positive.
Right.
Here's what NC State does. They've got an extraordinarily good quarterback. Ryan Finley is going to hang around an NFL roster.
Sure.
The way this kid plays the game with his eyes, he moves the safeties. He's throws the ball easily. It's accurate. All the things you cannot coach, he has. He's got a ton of intangibles. I was really hoping that the kid would have completed one of those 2 throws to end the football game because that would have enhanced his it factor. But it didn't happen. But still, they've got the quarterback. Their defensive front can create chaos up front. They're good.
Right.
They're strong. They can pressure the passer without a blitz, which is a mark of a decent defense. So there's a lot of things to build on for NC State. But again, it's just a heartbreak giveaway. They gave 21 points away to a really average SEC football team. Kickoff return, 2 turnovers, 14. It was 21 points right there. That game was winnable. 35-10, 35-17. It ends up a loss. It hurts. That one hurt.
Two more quick things. You talk about the turnovers. One of them came on a strip sack where Finley got crumbled and hurt his ankle again. He was not quite as accurate going forward after that. There were a couple of passes to Jalen Samuels that he threw behind. One of them Samuels caught for a touchdown.
Great catch.
And then when they had a chance, it's already 35-28. They're coming back to score again. They have a 3rd and 2 at the 33-yard line. They pick up the first down, but the offensive pass interference call, even though it's not a pre-snap penalty, that's a pre-snap penalty because the kid did not sell his route. Right. And it just opened the door for the official to make that call, whether it's right or wrong. They've been calling that for years now.
When you're coaching rub routes, pick routes, when you're coaching that, you've got to coach the guy that's setting the pick or being the rub player. He's got to be an actor. And you're coaching that in practice. Your body language matters to the official, okay? And the kid, he just didn't do a good job of selling it to the official. He came out and locked into the defender. It was called properly. It was called properly by the official. I thought it was adjudicated properly by the official. But, again, those things, they're correctable. Yep. NC State's got a chance to go win a lot of football games this year. I think it's a good football team, but that was a heartbreak.
Yeah, I love the talent level, and I think they'll clean up the little mistakes, and they should be fine. I'm not sure there's enough to clean up at North Carolina, or there isn't too much to clean up maybe at North Carolina, but they did, I think, find a quarterback in Chaz Surratt, who looks to be better than Brandon Harris, the transfer from LSU, and there's some other good things. What did you like about Surratt, even though North Carolina did lose the game?
I thought the quarterback competition was over. I've spent too many years fiddling around with quarterbacks, about 40 as a matter of fact, all right? And I was interested to see the beginning of the game. I wanted to see Brandon Harris, and I wanted to see the Chaz Surratt. I wanted to see this unfold. There were about 2 throws made by Brandon Harris that it was immediate. That you can't miss. You cannot miss a wide-open, busted coverage throw for a touchdown. You can't do that. That's called a fatal flaw when you're coaching a quarterback. Number 2.
He had time, too.
Well, he had time. The other thing, there are interceptions that are thrown. If you have a quarterback make a throw and he hits a linebacker right in the face like that, okay, those are fatal flaws when you're coaching a quarterback. And I got news for you. You can coach your fanny off. You're not going to remedy that. Those are vision problems. Yeah. So, in my mind, the quarterback competition was over right there. I wanted to see Surratt. He comes in. I saw a smooth operator. He's got a nice throw. He looked to have decent vision, and he's a youngster. So, there's an upside there. So, I think the competition for quarterback is basically over. Now, I'm watching from a distance. I'm not at practice every day, but I think they found a quarterback. I think University of North Carolina's offense is going to be fine. They're going to grow. See this kid keep his eyes downfield and make that throw? You can't coach that. A kid either does that or he doesn't. Now, when he shows you he can do that, you coach him. That's your guy. Okay, but this guy made a couple of throws today or yesterday that made me feel good about moving forward with him. But in the meantime, I'm going to have a bleeding ulcer, okay, watching the University of North Carolina attempt to play defense again. They generate no down 4 pressure. They can't pressure a quarterback with their down 4. They don't open field tackle well. They cover a little bit better than they have the last 2 years, but I'm just watching the same issues over and over and over again unfold in one football game for the University of North Carolina. Now, Larry's got a profile. He wants to hit 500 yards of offense and score 40 points. Yesterday, he got 400 yards of offense and scored 30 points, and you're going to reference where the turning point of the game was here in a minute.
We're going to get to that in a second, but you talk about big plays. Cal had 4 touchdown drives of over 70 yards, and they had 5 plays of over 20 yards, and they had, I think, 2 or 3 of almost over 50.
That's a profile of a bad defensive unit, period. Yeah. I'm talking about talent, not necessarily coaching. Talented players don't let that happen if you just line up in a base defense. You don't give up 4 80-yard touchdown drives if you've got talent. I'm telling you, there's a talent issue on the defensive side of the ball. I've been saying it for 3 years. about the University of North Carolina.
Yeah, the quarterback looks good. I thought the two running backs, Carter and Brown, looked very good.
Plenty good enough.
So yeah, there is talent. The defensive side of the ball is going to be a problem. But here, when the one time they did apply pressure to the quarterback with their down 4, right? You have DeJuan Drennan applies pressure, flushes the quarterback out of the pocket. He's throwing the ball away.
Exactly.
And it's third and 12 from their own 18.
Correct.
And then Jalen Dalton, silly penalty, targeting. He gets ejected. And then on the next play, Cal has a big play with some missed tackles, and that was the ball game to me.
Let me tell you, as a football coach, the way that I've addressed this in team meetings, that football play that you just watched, that is the height of selfishness. And I would have absolutely shredded a football player that was playing for me that did that in a football game. That is not the way that we coach the game. I know Larry doesn't coach the game that way. That selfishness, it cost them a football game. That singular football play flipped that entire game in favor of Cal. That singular play cost him a football game. And I'm telling you, there's no mercy given for a young man he knew what he did when he did it. It's selfishness, and it just impacted the entire football team. We were out there for 6 weeks preparing for this one football game, and something like that is a giveaway. That's upsetting. That's upsetting.
Cal scored the first touchdown. They were up 7-0. Carolina scored the next 17 points. They had just made it 17-7. They're about to get the ball back right before the half, probably get it around midfield, certainly no worse than the -40. And then that happens. You give Cal a touchdown. And even though Carolina retook a lead, 24-21, I think, in the second half, I mean, they really didn't do anything.
Minus that football play, that was going to be a profile Larry Fedora win at about, 38-20. That's the way that game was going to go. But that one football play, and again, it's selfishness in an individual player, and I'm telling you, I don't have a lot of compassion for that.
On the bright side, they had 2 interceptions in the same game. That for them is a bonus.
What was it, like a year ago? They had one?
One, yeah.
Well, we've doubled our productivity in the
They're miles better. That's a joke. Miles Dorn had a big hit, and I think Donnie Miles had an interception.
All right.
Duke bull rushed NC Central in the Bull City Classic. That's next on the Logan Zone. Well, one of the locals started off on a good foot.
They did.
The Duke Blue Devils demolished NC Central, who, by the way, has either tied or won the MEAC in all 3 of Jerry Mack's years. So it's a good football team at their level. But Duke didn't waste any time. 60-7, they win it. Sean Wilson was dynamite early. There was a pick 6 by Brian Fields for the second touchdown on the first play after Duke made it 7-0. What do we learn from a game like that where it is such a one-sided affair?
What you learn, if I'm at Duke, what I get to do is I take a sigh of relief from this standpoint. We did what we were supposed to do. We outclassed an inferior opponent. All right, we go out and score 60 points, that's the way it should look. That's the way it should be. I've got an NFL quarterback. Daniel Jones had exactly the day you wanted him to have. I think he was 19 of 25, a couple of touchdowns, no interceptions.
And 200 yards.
Yeah, and it was just perfect. We go out. I don't think they got anybody hurt. That's the other thing you worry about playing those kinds of games.
That's true.
It's an amazing dynamic when you play where the talent levels are that differentiated. It's amazing how many times there are injuries because of the talent differential. And they got out of it. I don't think they had any injuries, but this is exactly what the doctor ordered. They got Northwestern next. Northwestern will be a quality opponent, okay? But this is a win. It's prescribed to work this way, all right? Go out, get better, get a little, call it a scrimmage, whatever you want.
Right.
But 60-0, let me tell you something. Scoring 60 points, that's hard to do any time at all. They scored 60 points.
That's right.
I salute it. It was a good day at the office. Don't pat yourself on the back about it. Let's go back to work and beat Northwestern.
David Cutcliffe had never scored 60. One of his teams had never scored 60 points at Duke. They played Central a lot. They played a lot of other teams that they were better than. But 60 points is impressive.
60 points is 60 points. That's hard to get.
How about that first drive? Sean Wilson accounted for every offensive yard that Duke had on that first drive. In fact, even the first 3 plays of the second drive that Duke had offensively were all Sean Wilson. That's what they need. Wilson showed flashes his freshman year of being the guy.
He caught my eye last year. I kept going. I'm going to tell you, this kid's got good quicks. He's got good eyes. He sees the field. Makes really, he's a north-south type runner. He doesn't dance around.
Nope.
I've liked this kid for, a couple of years now. And again, my quarterback. I keep saying my quarterback. I really.
You're taking ownership of Daniel.
I'm telling you, Daniel Jones, there's a real upside. He's the perfect mentor in Coach Cutcliffe.
Yep.
A quarterback-friendly offense, a quarterback coach. This guy's got an upside. He's fun to watch for me because you just see him, he and Ryan Finley both, but I think there's more physical attributes with Daniel Jones. I think this guy's got the look.
Yeah, the one question about Duke, and we'll find out when they play Northwestern next week, how good can their defensive line be? They've got a great player in Mike Ramsey. Everybody raves about him, but you got to have more than one guy. And Northwestern has put together a nice run under Pat Fitzgerald there, where they're
competitive, period.
They're really good.
Yeah, they're a Big Ten. They're a middle-of-the-road Big Ten football team every year that's solid. And Coach Fitzgerald, he deserves a lot of credit because, as we know, like Duke, Northwestern, they don't joke around academically. So the pool is small from which they have to recruit to. But this will be a little bit of definition coming up this week for Duke. And if they can win this football game, I believe it's at Wallace Wade.
Yeah, it is. The next two, Northwestern and Baylor. Both at Wallace.
Baylor got beat by the other Baptist, by the way.
Oh, did they really?
They had a Baptist Bowl. The Liberty Flames.
That's unfortunate.
The Liberty Flames went down and beat the Baptist from Waco. And so, anyway, Coach Cut's got a chance to beat up on some Baptists and in 2 weeks from now. But this game coming up with Northwestern is going to be a big deal. But I think Duke's in great shape to get the job done.
Not in great shape would be the best way to put what's going on at East Carolina. Ooh. They gave up over 600 yards in offense to James Madison. By the way, James Madison was the FCS champion, and they bring back a lot of players.
Let me read this to you.
No, this is going to hurt. This is going to physically hurt.
85-yard touchdown run, 80-yard touchdown run, 70-yard touchdown run. And if that isn't bad enough, we turned the ball over 4 times. Let me tell you something. There's a few times that you can lose a football game. You can lose football games a million ways, and you can kind of digest it and think you can overcome it and get better. That thing that happened in Greenville yesterday, that's disturbing.
Yeah.
It's disturbing on a lot of different levels. There were some red flags going into, I think I read where they took 5 6-year transfers, 6 or 7 JUCO kids during recruiting. Those are red flags that tell you that the what's in the pipeline there. Mm-hmm. And again, they came out of the tunnel, and I'm watching it on the iPad. It was a streamed football game yesterday. There was no physical difference between East Carolina and James Madison physically, and that's disturbing. Yeah. So I don't want to be
I wish him well at West Virginia next week.
Yeah, you're talking West Virginia, Virginia Tech, and here we go. I'm looking at their schedule right now, and it doesn't look well. Yeah. It doesn't look well at all for the Pirates, but we'll see. You get paid to coach. We'll see what it's all about.
They can scout both of their next 2 opponents tonight as West Virginia and Virginia Tech play. How will Christian McCaffrey help the Panthers' offense evolve? That was the buzzword.
I will draw that up for you when we get back.
We're going to the board with Coach Logan on the Logan Zone next. The NFL season does not begin for another week. Actually, a little bit less than that because we have a Thursday night game on WRAL. But the Carolina Panthers open up next Sunday in San Francisco with an evolved, I use air quotes, an evolved offense thanks to Christian McCaffrey, who I thought was the best running back in the draft coming in.
He was.
Panthers got him 8. I love everything about him. Mm-hmm. How is he going to change Cam Newton's offense?
We're going to go to the board here. I want to show
love the board.
If I'm coaching offense, all right, this is where I really get excited. If you come out in base personnel, all right, base personnel is 2 backs, 2 tight end, and 2 wide receivers. The defense should come out in a base personnel. Well, here's the big deal about that. This is Christian McCaffrey right here at the top of the I formation. I should come out of the huddle with 2 offensive football plays called: a run to Christian McCaffrey or a pass to Christian. If I see that they've got a will linebacker in the football game, I immediately detach Christian McCaffrey, put him out here in the slot. Guess who's got to come try to cover him? that Will linebacker's going to come out on top of him, and I'm going to wear him out with this football play right here. You take that and run a little double route like that. You get an option route, one-on-one with that Will linebacker. You're going to win. You're going to win. All right? What's the flip side of that equation? If the defense gets tired of you wearing their Will linebacker out with Christian McCaffrey, what do? They put a nickel back in the game. When I see the nickel back in the game, I bring Christian right back into the backfield and put him behind my 250-pound fullback. Guess who has to come play Will linebacker right now? A 200-pound nickel back. And I'm going to run this football play until hell freezes over. I'm going to put that fullback right up there. He's a 250-pounder on a 200-pound nickelback. That gets old.
Yes.
That gets old in a hurry because that nickelback, he's going to have a face full of fullback in the whole game. So it becomes a chess match between the defensive coordinator and the offensive coordinator. Are you going to play nickel? You're going to play base. And this is where Christian McCaffrey, that's the value of that kind of football player. He's Reggie Bush all over again. If you go back and look at Reggie Bush's career, he was phenomenal in the National Football League when he was in his prime doing exactly this stuff right here.
Yeah, when he was healthy, I actually think if he stays healthy, I think he'll be better than Reggie Bush was. But I think the problem with Bush was health.
Let me tell you something. This gets back to this idea right here. You can't take these 200-pound type guys like Christian or Reggie Bush and run them up inside the whole game. You can't do it. We had Reggie Bush at San Francisco, and we used to dial it up, and hopefully we would run him between the tackles maybe 6 times a game. Anything more than that, and he'd get hurt because he's just not built for that. But you've got to do it some. But that's the way that Christian McCaffrey's going to get used. I think it's exciting for Cam Newton and exciting for Panther fans to see the offense evolve. This is more of a pro-style offense now when you've got that kind of football play.
All right, we're going to set the table for you when we come back on the Logan Zone. All right, before we get out of here, we have a Thursday night football game coming up on WRAL TV 5. Kansas City at New England, 8 o'clock. We'll start the NFL season, the defending champs. Fun to watch Tom Brady, huh?
Tom Brady minus Julian Edelman.
That's right.
That was a severe injury, so we're going to see the Patriots are going to look a little bit different this year.
I think they'll be okay.
Well,
don't.
Give me Tom Brady and anybody, I'm probably all right.
He can throw to me. I'm Adam Gold. That's Coach Steve Logan. We'll see you next Sunday on the Logan Zone.